everybody, this is Jonathan with Texas 2.5. Today is Weber Smoky Mountain Day. It's finally the day I get to break in my new Weber Smoky Mountain, but I have a little twist for you. So y'all stay tuned and we'll have fun together. Check it out. Alright, so today is finally the big day. I've had this Weber Smoky Mountain for 6 or 7 weeks now, and I just have not had time to fire it up. I have been, anytime I've had to smoke or to grill, I've been trying to break in my new Lone Star Grill's 20x42 offset, and if you've watched any of my videos, you know that I took delivery on one of the newly redesigned Lone Stars back in middle of June. That's been an awesome pit, and my next video tomorrow I plan to do another big smoke on that. But while I was waiting on my Lone Star to come, this 22.5-inch Weber Smoky Mountain popped up on Facebook for $200, and the guy said he would take 160, and it's only been used 10 or 12 times, maybe even less by the looks of it. And so I couldn't pass that up. I've never owned a Weber Smoky Mountain. And so that's the twist on today's video, is I'm a total newbie, and there's a lot of good videos out there on how to start a Weber Smoky Mountain, but what those guys have on their hands that I don't have on my hands today is time. I'm really going to put this Weber Smoky Mountain to the test, and it's going to be a little bit different than what you've seen. Now, there are some great startup videos on Weber Smoky Mountains, how to light it, how to get going. My personal favorite is the one from T-Roy Cooks. I think I've watched that about 3 times over in the last month as I've gotten ready for this big day. I'll put the link down in the description box below if you guys want to check that video out. It's my personal favorite. I think it's the best video out there on your initial start up and cook on your Weber Smoky Mountain. But what most guys are going to tell you with the Weber Smoky Mountain is get a bag of Kingsford Blue or some other briquettes, fill up your charcoal basin, take a few briquettes out and light them, and then use the minion method to get your pit started. And you might have to tinker with it for the first 30 minutes or an hour, but once you get the temperature stable at where you want it, that thing will rock for minimum of 12 hours. 15 is likely from what I've heard, and some guys have even had theirs perform for 18 or 20 hours. Now, I don't expect that kind of performance the first time out of mine, but the thing is, I don't have an hour to tinker with this because this was sort of an unexpected day off for me, and I promised my wife and my 2 little girls that we would go to the free kids zoo here in Minneapolis this morning. So I only have a few minutes. All I have time to do is dump my charcoal in there, pull a few briquettes out, get them lit, dump them in minion method style, and walk away. I'm not going to have a chance to get this thing settled into a groove before I leave for the zoo. So I'm really putting this Weber Smoky Mountain to the test today. I'm a total beginner on the Smoky Mountain. I've never had one before. Now, I have done charcoal cooking. I've owned a pit barrel cooker, and I enjoyed that for the most part. But today I'm going to be putting it to the extreme. I'm just going to be lighting it and setting the vents where T-Roy and others have recommended that the vents be set for 250-ish degrees, 275 max. And I'm just going to walk away from it for probably about 3 hours. And I'll be real excited to see what it has done when I come back. So that's today's video, initial cook on the Weber Smoky Mountain. And we're going to be putting her to the test. We'll see how she does. So here's the setup. I'm using a 15-pound bag of Royal Oak Red Bag briquettes. I will not be using lump charcoal in this Weber Smoky Mountain, at least not for my first few cooks. I will probably 95 or more % of the time use briquettes just because of how controllable they are as compared to lump. And so what I did was I dumped the whole bag almost in here, little well in the middle, and then I put the rest of the briquettes from the bag. Let's see if I can show you that. Down in here, this is probably about a third full. So all that's left to do is light her up, and in a few minutes we'll come back, dump the coals, get our vents set, and then I'm going to the zoo for 3 hours, and we'll come back and find out what happened. Y'all stay tuned. All right, y'all. It's been exactly 15 minutes. All I'm doing, bringing them over, dumping them in. Now I'm not using wood chunks today because I'm not cooking, so it'd be pointless to waste wood. All we're doing today is a heat test. Although, you know, when I get home from the zoo, if this thing is rocking and rolling, and I kind of expect it to be, my hopes are high for this test, but if it's rocking and rolling like I'm hoping, then maybe I'll throw a piece of meat on there. We'll see. While you guys were away, I did 2 things. I set all my vents like T-Roy instructs. They're all about 1/4 of an inch open, all 3 bottom vents. That's about pencil thickness. Now I did not have a pencil, so I used a cheapo ballpoint pen, which is about the same thing. And then the top vents are all the way open. So let's set this baby up. Get her secure. Think everything's in good. Got my paper towel roll. All right, y'all. Looks good to me. Now for this first cook, since I'm not going to be around, I'll take the paper towel roll off just in case that does get too toasty on the side. But we'll test that another time. So, like I said, while y'all were gone, I set all 3 vents open, 1/4 of an inch or the width of a ballpoint pen. Did that on all 3 of them. And top vent is wide open and smoke is coming out. We'll see once this thing warms up if I still have smoke leaking around the top here. There's just a little bit coming out from one side over here. May end up getting that gasket kit, but we'll see. So the vents were the first thing I did while y'all were gone. The second thing is I quick drilled a hole in each one of the legs and put a little 2.5 inch drywall screw in just to hold this base down. I may eventually put something beefier in there, but honestly, you ain't ripping those out of there. That should be sufficient. Better put my drill bit away. All right, that's it, folks. Going to the zoo. We'll come back in a few hours and see how she's doing. Y'all stay tuned. All right, quick update. I am back from the zoo. 2 hours and 40 minutes since I lit this baby. And when I left, so within 2 to 3 minutes after I dumped the coals in, it was up to about 140. Within 10 minutes, it was up to about 200. And again, we had our top vent all the way open and all 3 bottom vents 1/4 inch open. When I got back here just now, at about 5 minutes ago, the 2 hour and 40 minute mark, we were actually at about, I don't know if you can see that very well, we were about 320. So I closed 2 of the vents completely and popped the lid off just to make sure that the thermometer wasn't off, just to get a feel for the heat, and it was pretty toasty in there. So we definitely were at 320. So we'll see how quickly we can get the temps back down under the 300 range. But I actually find this promising because I like to run a little hot and fast on my smokes. I prefer hot and fast smoke. Obviously, I didn't have an ATC temp controller or anything like that hooked up, so I can't look at the data and see if it came up to 300 plus degrees really quickly after I left and then planed out, or if over that 2 hours and 40 minutes it just slowly came up to 320 degrees. So I don't know that yet, but I'll find that out in a future cook. All right, it's been 30 more minutes. I walked away for half an hour and had lunch. Now I'm back, and if you remember, our temperature was just over 300, and it looks like in the last 30 minutes, by shutting off 2 of the 3 bottom vents and just leaving one open, pencil thick, pencil width, quarter of an inch open, again with the top vent all the way open, which is, in my understanding, is how you're always supposed to run the Weber Smoky Mountain. You keep the top vent all the way open and you control temps using the bottom vents. So now 2 are completely closed, 1 is barely open, and we've gotten down to 270. So we're sitting steady at 270. And what I'm going to monitor over the next 30 minutes is if it stays there or if it continues to drop. It looks like to me, since I first looked about 3 minutes ago, that it's already dropped about 2 or 3 more degrees. So what I'm going to do is I think I'll actually open up one more vent to see if I can maintain that 275 and just let it rock and roll indefinitely. But we'll see in 30 minutes. All right, I think it's been a little over 30 minutes. I can't remember exactly, but we're at about the 4 hour and 15 minute mark. Why won't that focus? There we go. 255, 60, 67. Wow. 68. That has not budged since I went inside the house 35, 40 minutes ago. I'd say we got her right where we want her. I actually don't mind cooking a little hotter than that, especially because this is measuring the dome temperature, and the grate temperature down here is going to be at probably 15 to 20 degrees cooler. So I don't mind actually running up around 300, even 310 wouldn't be terrible, because again, as I told you earlier, if I'm going to err on one side or the other, I like to smoke hot and fast. I don't know why I do know why my camera won't focus, because it's a cheap Android phone that drives me nuts. Anyways, so we're rocking along at 267, and that is 268. That's exactly what it was when I went in the house a little while ago. And again, we're at the 4 hour and 15 minute mark, and we're settled in. We're rocking and rolling. When I checked the charcoal the last time I was out here, it didn't even need to be stoked or anything. There was gray throughout. A lot of the coals all the way around the basket had grayed up a little bit, but there were still tons of them that were totally black. We got fuel to go for at least 8 more hours, I would say, if not longer. So that's the status. We're rocking and rolling. And one thing, I guess the main thing that I want this video to communicate is how easily the Weber Smoky Mountain is to control, even for, number one, a guy like me who's never fired one up before, and number two, a guy who had no time this morning to sit around and maintain it. All I did was start it and walk away for the next 2.5 hours. And even though the dome temp got up to 320, even if I had had meat on there, that would not have bothered me at all. I like cooking at those higher temps. 300 degree great temps is not extreme. I have no problem at all putting a brisket or a pork butt on at 300 degrees. It's not going to hurt it. It's not going to ruin it. It's the theory behind ugly drum smokers. It's how my pit barrel ran when I owned that. That's when I first started enjoying hot and fast smoking, and I much prefer it, to be honest, over real low and real slow. Except for ribs. I'm not doing ribs at 300, but anything else, any of the main meats other than that, Um, Pork and beef, I'm cool with 300, 280, anywhere up in that range is fine with me. So this is awesome. This is super encouraging. This is going to be my main smoker this winter here in Minnesota. It's going to be real cold and snowy a lot of days, and I'm not going to want to fire up my Lone Star all winter long because pulling that around on a slippery driveway and just running an offset in winter anyways in the north is difficult. I'll probably use it at least once a month in the winter, but this sweet new setup with my platform and my off-road tires, this is going to be 5-6 months a year in the cold months up here in Minnesota. This is going to be my main smoker, and then in the summer I'll switch back to my Lone Star, and that'll be my main smoker, and I'll only use my Weber whenever I need some more set it and forget it type smoking. So I think I have the ideal setup. I think this is about perfect for what I want. I think the only thing that I'll change in the future is I will probably get rid of my 22-inch Weber grill and go to a 26-inch. I've been wanting to do that for quite some time. And I think once I get that 26-inch Weber in the fold and I have a 26-inch Weber grill, the 22.5 Weber Smoky Mountain for winter, and my Lone Star for summer, that's my dream setup. My dream setup will be complete at that point, and I will have precisely the grilling and smoking tools and capacity that work best for my situation and my family, and I'm excited about that. The next 26.5-inch Weber grill that pops up on Craigslist, I can guarantee you I'll be snagging it. So I'll probably wait several more hours to do another update since this thing is rocking along so nice, and we'll wrap up here pretty quickly, and I'll give you an update on how long that charcoal lasted. All right, this is the 8-hour update. It's about 5 p.m. Here, and I got to wrap this up because of all things, I'm headed over to a barbecue for the next few hours. So let me give you one final temp update. Let me give you the good and the bad. There has been one major disappointment today that I haven't told you about yet because I just discovered it. But it's not the Weber Smoky Mountain. So let's do a quick wrap up. Let's walk over here and check the temps. They've been very stable. They've been in the 260 range for the last 4 hours. They've finally started dropping pretty dramatically here in the last 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and I'll tell you why. So the Weber Smoky Mountain has performed awesome. I'm very, very happy with it. As far as ease of use and set it and forget it, this is going to be fantastic. What I am not happy with is the charcoal. We're under 8 hours. We're about 7 hours and 50 minutes. And about 45 minutes ago, I came out here and realized my charcoal is almost completely gone. That little bit that's left was scattered all over. I raked it up as best I could into one spot. But as I said, the temps have fallen dramatically over the last hour, obviously, because I'm running out of charcoal. This is a tremendous disappointment because of the performance that other guys have gotten out of their bags of charcoal. Again, I put an entire 15-pound bag of Royal Oak in there a few minutes after 9 o'clock this morning. And at 5 o'clock tonight, that charcoal is basically totally used up. Really, man, that really disappoints me. I don't know if that's an anomaly, if that's just a one-off thing. I hate to be too critical of Royal Oak after one use. But I'm wondering if it's maybe the type of briquette. I noticed starts faster, burns hotter. To me, that says shorter lifespan. Really disappointed because the Kingsford Blue bags, T-Roy and other guys are getting 16 plus hours out of. And I'm already at the 8-hour mark cool enough out there where I would have to definitely be adding a bunch more charcoal. And actually, if I was still cooking, I would have needed to add the charcoal 45 minutes ago when I first realized the problem. So I would have had to add charcoal at the 7-hour mark to keep things going. That's really disappointing to me. I really don't want to use Kingsford Blue because after using this Royal Oak stuff for so long in my Weber grill, I actually do notice a smell and a flavor difference when I occasionally do go back to KBB. Um, so I don't know. I'm gonna have to figure out what to do. If you guys have thoughts, you experienced Weber Smoky Mountain users on what might have happened. Again, I didn't see any leaks. The one little smoke leak that was going on early on dried up pretty quickly once things heated up. Um, but it's looking like either I need to try a different kind of Royal Oak briquette, or I just need to use Kingsford Blue when I'm doing long smokes on the Weber, because I don't want to use 15 pounds of charcoal in 8 hours. That's ridiculous. That means I would, to get the 16 hours that other guys are getting, obviously that would be 2 bags, and that's not acceptable. So, very happy though with the Weber Smoky Mountain. I was thinking I'd go off to this barbecue and I'd come back in 3 or 4 hours and give you another update. But that's not going to be necessary because, again, we're out of charcoal. We're down to 215, and that's all she wrote. So the good news for you is that makes a shorter video. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed our first initial burn-in on the Weber Smoky Mountain, testing out our charcoal and seeing how the unit itself performed. And I love the unit. I love the smoker itself, and we'll try to get that charcoal problem figured out. Talk to you again soon.